everybody, it's Ryan from MyAfterSchoolToys.com, and we've got another fun review for you today. We're talking about the 1982 Arco Other World figures. Now, if you could sit down with a toy executive and they asked you, could you come up with the simplest, most plainest, possibly boring figures you could think of, you could probably come up with the Arco Other World figures. There just wasn't a lot to them. Before we get into the figures, let's talk a little bit about the storyline. There was two sides. There was Rady, the king of the Jipps, and here's Rady right here with his sword. And the thing about these figures was there was zero articulation as far as joints go, because it was just rubber covered over wires. And you can see the little holes on the body here where the wires were inserted. And you could bend them, and they would hold a pose, but it certainly didn't look right. Look at how awkward that is. And these bendy figures were really popular in the 80s. There was all kinds. So here was Rady. He was king of the Jipps, and this is a Jipp right here. This kind of weird-looking, big-headed creature that's kind of poorly made and mass-produced. He's got a little club and a hammer here. And then they fought against the bad guys. And the bad guys were Xander, who's right here. I think it was Zindo, I think. Zindo. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And then he was the king of the Mogs, which the Mogs were just Jipps that were purple and a little creepier face. And so these two guys were in a battle against each other. So there's your storyline right there in the nutshell. And Zindo here was just the same as Rady, just rubber with wires inside. You could bend them. They would hold awkward poses. The one really cool thing about these figures, and a staple of the 80s, was they came with glow-in-the-dark weapons. And the funny thing about it was, the land that Rady and Zindo were fighting over was called Glogon. So, there you go, glow-in-the-dark weapons. I love glow-in-the-dark stuff, so I always kind of had a little affection for these figures. And then, of course, back here we have Ronin. Ronan was my favorite. He was a warrior. He had a double-bladed sword, which I thought was very cool. And then there were also some bigger creatures in the set right here. There's one. This is Gaifand. Gaifand the dragon. Now, he came with a saddle, which unfortunately I don't have, but you could sit a figure on him here. And then there were these little, like, handcuffs kind of things that came down and would attach to their hands like this and kind of keep them on, since there wasn't a whole lot of articulation. And then he could ride the dragon. So there you go. Fun figures. Like I said, they were cheap. You could get these in 2-packs, and then they also started selling them in single packs where you could get, like, Rady with a Jipp or Zindo with a Mog. And then there was also multi-packs where there were several Jipps and several Mogs, and they kind of packaged them in different ways. And they did a pretty well run in 82 and 83. They sold pretty well. These aren't too hard to get online. You can get them without the weapons pretty cheap. It's when you want to get the glow weapons that the price starts to bump up on them. But they're fun. They are a true icon of 80s toys, so if you're a collector, these are some things that you might want to have in your collection. And they're a lot of fun. So that's it for our review. I wish I had more to say about these figures, but there's just not a lot to them. You could throw them in the water, because there was no joints to get rusted. I'm sure the wires inside might rust out and get a little harder to move, but that was it. Alright, so 1982, 1983 Other World figures from Arco. Thanks for checking out our toy review. Make sure to check out our website at myafterschooltoys.com and subscribe to our channel, because we've got a ton of 80s toys coming. I'm headed out to Phoenix Comic-Con soon, and I know I'll be bringing back some more 80s toys to review from there as well. And until next time, as always, long live the 80s.